Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Alright, see if I'm back. I'll have to go back and check it. That is so infuriating. It pops up. You need to do an update on your phone, and literally kills me out of my own life. That's ridiculous to close the program out. Very, very frustrating. Alright. Last piece. Now this can look a little nicer. See how nasty this is? We'll clean it up. Alright. Initial clean. We're not doing a deep clean. I ain't got time for that. Alright, and see if this works any better. It blows it off a little bit of that, but the stuff that's left on here is sticky. So, we're going to be using these right here. And those right there. So, that's a couple of pieces I'm going to be using. I'm going to look at my order. I'm going to have to find like some card holders or something, get something. I got to put my other RF supply one over here so you guys can see it. And I'll do that for TikTok. Do it over there. So you guys can see the D1's RF supply over there. Alright. Let me look at my order real quick and see what I got going on. Waving a hand, Sumo. Hope you're doing well with Needle Bender 111. Yeah, I think I broke my YouTube and my Twitch. Alright. Putting on DIN connectors. Yes, we're going to be working on some DINs. Some DIN males, some DIN females. I'll show you guys how that works. For the guys that know, hope you enjoyed the video. For the guys that don't know, I also hope you enjoy the video. Because that's what these are for. If somebody says this is basic, I already know how to do this, this video is not meant for you. Alright, so... alright, YouTube, did it get broke? No, YouTube's okay. What's up? Yeah, we're building some Rg-393. We're working on some wire here. We're going to zoom in real quick on this video. Boop. This is Rg-393. Alright, now let's kill this real quick. I'm in the live right here on Twitch. Now, let's look at this order and see what I got to do. I have to do... Oh, this is going to be fun. This is a good build. So we're doing a DIN split feed, DIN male, 24 foot. Okay, the short one's going to be 2 males. So let's go ahead and pull this out and get our 2 males. This is a terrible set of scissors. It's good for very strong stuff, but it's not good for this little stuff. That's much better. 1, 2, and then I need 1 for that one, and then I need 1 female for that one. Don't I have 2 females? 1 for that one. I guess not. I don't know. I thought I bought an extra female and an extra male, but I guess I didn't. That's my LC connectors. I can put them aside, them out of the way. For the next build, I've got a a couple 7/8 builds coming up, a couple 1/2 inch flex builds coming up. This 393 build, I got some Rg-400, another Rg-400 build coming up. I got I think that's all of them. I don't know. I got several 100-foot of wire I gotta get built. So the way this works is these come multi-optional, the way it sets up. So if I was to set this up, I have an option to go to a right angle if somebody wants to buy a right angle, or I can go to a straight connector if somebody wants to buy a straight connector. So I've got options with this design, so it's pretty good in that respect. Alright, now that I see my orders, let me go back over here to TikTok. You guys ain't saying much. Facebook. Let me get back into Facebook. Is this the right Facebook one? Because that seems like the wrong video. No, that's the wrong video. Yeah, that's funny. See, whenever that stuff breaks, sometimes it just breaks. Yeah, cool. We're back to the new one. Waving a hand, 178, man. Yeah. Pleasure talking to you for sure. 111 needle bender, waving a hand again. Yeah, the diagram update killed my live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So that was frustrating. So we're going to cut this back, start measuring, and show you guys how this works. Alright, you guys on TikTok, you got questions, y'all feel free to ask. It doesn't hurt my feelings none. So, what I have to do now is I have to run a measurement real quick. I've done several of these, but I'm going to do another measurement for you guys. Just because that's the cool thing about my RF supply. It's a little mini tutorial. It is not a step-by-step basis for every single coax connector. It is a test for the coax connectors that I currently have. So don't be looking at something and being like, oh yeah, he went and showed me how to put DIN connectors on every single one of the 393 coaxes. No, I showed you how to put this particular DIN on. 29, let's just do this. Instead of doing a double measurement, I can kind of cheat and just go straight to the source itself and make my mark. That'll take me all the way bottomed out on that connector, and then from there, what I need to do zero this booger out. It's 21, so that's going to be 8.5 really. Just say 8 millimeters. So we'll run out to 8 millimeters. Make ourselves a mark. We got our mark out here. We'll make our 8 millimeter mark, which is right there. And now we'll go to our next mark, which is right here, about 7.7 millimeters. I'll take a line and mark that. So what I did is shield is going to be this long, center conductor is going to be this full length right here, and then or center conductor with Teflon connected, and then the center conductor completely exposed is going to be here. This is how this design is going to work out, so I got to cut it and measure it from there. We'll see how good we did. If I made a mistake, then we will be starting over in just a moment. Do I sleep? I try to. It is always an attempt to sleep, but I've got a bunch of stuff to do, a bunch of projects I'm working on, so this is entirely too late for me to be working, but it's got to get done because I've got to get ready for New Orleans. New Orleans is in, when is it? Let me check. New Orleans is coming up in a week and a half, so I have to be complete with all but one of my orders by New Orleans. So I've got a lot of work to get done, so you guys will see me getting busy over here. I don't know how to make this thing go away. How to make it, there we go. So, what's Facebook got to say? Alright. Where is my knife? So all I'm doing right here is I'm bearing down all the way. Technically I can do this with some dikes. Or some side cutters. But I didn't, so whatever. Gotta watch that. It's not really it just leaves a lot of crap on your bench if you don't clean it up. So this is not strong enough to twist, so that's why I kept these little handy pliers. It's just something with a wide grip. It don't matter what kind of pliers you use. I could probably use my snap-ons right here, but they'd take a little bit more twisting motion. It would be a little bit more strain on my wrist. So, not really my cup of tea. Alright. Next is our next mark right here. And we've got to get all the way through the shield on this one, but not all the way through the dialect. Looks like I'm at a bad angle on Facebook and YouTube. We'll turn you guys over just a little bit. Alright. Next is going to be just the outer jacket from here. YouTube. Hello, hello. Alright, next. Let's go ahead and get this piece. I wish there was like a way I could put all the chats together into one thing and it would just tell me where everybody's from. There's one thing I can do to do that, but the problem is I can't figure out how to go live on TikTok that way. I have not figured it out yet. It's called something called an RTMP, and I don't know how to make it work. I've already done all the keys and the stream keys and all the other crap, and I don't know. I can't get it to work. So this is an FEP jacket, so I'm just taking that jacket. As long as I got a deep enough score on it, then it'll break loose. I don't have to actually cut all the way through it. Alright, now I'm going to do something. Nah, I'll do this after. Alright. I'm missing something for this customer, and I don't know if it's worth all the daggum money that I'm about to spend just to do this for them. Alright, whatever. We'll spend the money for it. I don't do this very often, but I'll do it for them. It'll be alright. I've got to come up with a supplier for this stuff anyway, so. one. I got one. I gotta get 4 of these. Ouch. 2, 3, and then number 4. There's 2. I might have to do some research on this afterward, but I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Being super nice and getting this guy some glue line heat shrink. And that's right, one of these is going to be used for a jumper, and one's going to be used for what's called a lot of guys will call it a rotor loop. So basically they'll build a loop up top by their beam so they can rotate their antenna. This is good for HF. This is good for anything in the HF spectrum. Doesn't matter what it is. It'll work for typically the guys on the lower on really 6 meter and below. 6 meter, 10 meter, 12 meter, 11 meter, really 40 meter, 80 meter, any of that stuff. Alright, now here's this ring right here, and I do a dual step on this thing, on this process right here. A lot of guys will just try to do this in one step, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Get some solder. This is Rg-393 is what this one is specifically. I've got some Rg-400 back here. I'll show you guys what it looks like. I was still working on this on Saturday. This is what Rg-400 looks like. Your LMR 400 I'm not a huge fan of, but I do have some of that for a build for a customer. It looks like this right here. So this is LMR 400, and that's what that looks like right there. All right. Next step of this process is making sure all this is bonded properly. I'm going for electrical connections and not mechanical connections. So I did a mechanical connection right there just to get a contact on the shield because of how this is built. But I'm going for an electrical connection. So you'll see what I do on top of that. Yeah, sure. I appreciate you. This cable is mainly used in aerospace and aeronautics, but it definitely can be adapted down to the HF spectrum. It's used a lot in aircraft because of the low friction coefficient of the exterior jacket. Is that booger? Yeah, it's full tip. We're good. So I'm soldering the center conductor right now. I'm going to check on Facebook and YouTube and see if you guys can see pretty good. Okay, the video just paused. It was throwing me off for a second there. Let me see if you guys can see on TikTok. Not really. Let me scoot you guys over. What's going on here? Don't scoot. Oh, there it is. Yeah, but you couldn't see what I was soldering on over here. That's why I had to move it. Yes, it's a 50 ohm cable. I may have some rotor wire. I know I'm a distributor for a bunch of different rotor wire, but I may have some rotor wire on me. I'm not sure. I don't know. Now, this is a FEP jacket, fluorinated ethylene propylene, and a PTFE dielectric. So that's Teflon, for the guys that don't know. Teflon's a brand name. PTFE is actually what it is. It's polytetrafluoroethylene is what that one is. But they're fluoropolymers is what they are. And they can take a lot of heat. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying not to be too aggressive, but I want to get for sure solder in on that shield. Okay. Well, that's annoying. Now we'll go a step further, and this will be our last step. This, we'll snag our little flat head right over here and see if it's the right size. It is. Got to be careful not to burn my fingers. That'll lock into place. That'll preheat along with this connection. There we go, we're done. Now from this point, let's throw our heat shrink up here and let it melt itself. Not really. It is hot enough to be able to do whatever it needs to do. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit extra because I've got the material to do it and I just want to. Just cooling off the body and connector just a little bit. Nothing crazy. They don't have to be super fancy. I just want it to cool off so I don't burn my arm. But that's it. That is a completed Rg-393 end. I'm going to go ahead and do the other end and I'll show you guys how this works. The steps that I'm taking are a little bit extra according to what the manufacturer calls for. So do it at your own risk, but this is what I'm doing on mine. Let's just say that much. This is how I will sell my connectors. So, from here, we'll start our measurements over. we'll throw some extra parts on here. What do you recommend for semi-trucks, especially a Cascadia? I like Rg-400, to be honest. It's pretty solid. It doesn't burn? Yeah, it's good. I am D-Win's RF supply, but if you've heard of the name D-Win, then you would know maybe other businesses that I own. But yeah, D-Win's RF supply is what I am right here. This is what I do. I don't do anything but this RF supply work here at this business. All right. So again, we got to do some measurements. So we'll take our caliper right here and we'll get to work on this part. Thank you, J-Dog. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Rigo. Thank you, everybody, for what is it? I don't know what they are. Coins or something? What are these things? I don't know. But thanks for them, whatever they are. Appreciate you guys on YouTube. If you guys got questions, y'all feel free to ask. Do I solder DIN connectors on 1/2-inch flex? And if not, why? I do not solder DIN ends on 1/2-inch flex. You can, but it's significantly more difficult. And the problem with a DIN connector is the way it's set up and the way it's built is it's got a very specific amount of spacing. So I'm constantly fighting that whenever I do my split feeds. I'm constantly fighting that dielectric spacing and making sure it, or the connector spacing itself to make sure it seats properly. I went so far as to take a connector and to cut the body of the connector in half just to see if the connection will seat fully all the way down. If you look at the way a DIN connector is made, this is the center conductor. This is how it's built and how it's made. It sits on this inside edge right here. There is a inner lip right in here. You can jam that booger back out the back way, and you could solder these pins on. The problem is, if you damage this outer edge too much on the outside right here, and you don't get it connected properly, what's going to happen is it'll go too far or it won't go far enough. And if it doesn't seat right here, everything goes out the window about the power handling that I've mentioned before. Let's see if I got a DIN connector here to show you. I need to buy some more DIN connectors. Jeez, man, you guys keep buying me out. Alright, so you look at this DIN connector, see how it seats? We push it down even further, and it seats all the way down, nice and flush on that inner ring right here. It sits on the larger portion, not just the smaller portion. Again, for you guys over here on TikTok that don't know what we're talking about a DIN connector and why I would or wouldn't solder one. It's very important that this connection seats all the way down. I went as far as to cut a connector off, like this one right here, just so I could actually see how this connector is made. I wasted money myself just to see how a cross-section cut of how these things made up and seat. So it's important to know. But yeah, for the most part, the connector is built and designed from the manufacturer. So if I can improve it without risking damage to the connector itself, and I can make it better in some way, I will. If it's significantly more difficult, or if I feel like I'm not going to be able to maintain the original design of the connector, I will shy away. So that's kind of where I sit with that stuff. Alright, let me check the rest of you guys on TikTok's video comments. Oh, there we go. What the heck's going on there? Any recommendations for an ATAS antenna on my truck? I'm getting a bad whine when I accelerate. Grounds or fixture counterpoise? Can't see it. I'm not in the camera? Or am I not in the camera? Where'd the camera go? My bad. Sorry. That's what I get for assuming. So you want to see this connection right here? See, all the way into that center pin right there. That's why I did that cross-section cut right there. Alright. More questions on Facebook? What you got? Waving a hand, 104. Hope you're doing well, man. 301, waving a hand. Hope you're doing well. Anybody else said hello? Yes, the vertical is up, so I'm able to do some prototyping with it. So I'm in the process of prototyping that one. Alright, copy, I fixed it. Alright. Let's slide this on real quick. So I'll do this one strictly by... No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it strictly by that just because I don't want to. Let's just say I go up a little bit just because, so I can have that little bit of extra body like I had was going for earlier. Cut that right there, right? Now we'll run this in. We already measured, that was 8 millimeters. 8 millimeters of center conductor gone. Mils, got that. Next measurement is going to be here. .6. Oh, that's not cool. What is that? That was a weird measurement. I don't want to use that measurement. Pretty much 8 mils on the money. Okay, we're going to cut this jacket back a little bit further. Right here, all the way through the shield. Things get a little bit more difficult here because you have to have a heavy connector on the end just flopping around, getting in your way. Alright. Slide that booger off. We don't need that. Yeah, you guys can see great. Cool. Facebook can see good. Well, what's up? How you doing, 454? Waving a hand, man. We're working on some Rg-393 today. So, in order to break Teflon loose or any fluoropolymer for the most part, you just kind of wiggle it back and forth and get it loose. And then if you need to, you'll get some teeth on it because it's got a very low friction coefficient. Alright. Now just the jacket on this one, we're not going as deep. My goal is not always to get all the way through the jacket. It's to go far enough that I can pull it and break it loose. Because if I do that, there's a guarantee that I'll never cut through any shield wire. So, like being super precise and cutting perfectly through the jacket is all great and fine and dandy, but the goal is actually to make your life easier and not harder. And not have like a simple mistake turn into a big problem. So the goal is to cut lighter and then kind of work with the material the way it's designed. You can easily play with it and get that booger to do what you need it to do. Let me slide this booger back. That's so funny. Alright, you can come up. Look at that. The heat shrink keeps grabbing it. There we go. Who's going to New Orleans? There is a key down in New Orleans. I will be there next weekend, not this coming weekend, but next coming weekend. If you guys come down, I will bring some hats and some t-shirts, and we'll do something fun with them. I don't know, I'm not going to bring them all, but I'll bring some. And if you guys can come up with something funny to say, something not really funny, but something cool to say, then we'll use that as our slogan for people to get stuff. There's a guy on TikTok giving out watches and stuff. He says, like, love your journey or whatever. I don't really want to do exactly what he does because that's his thing. I don't care. There's other guys who've done giveaways if people can find them and stuff. So I'm just, you'll already know where I'm at, but I think it'd be fun. Give you guys some hats and some shirts. Alright, flip this sucker around. Try not to burn myself. That one's done. Last step is, again, try not to burn yourself. Put this on. Ooh. This whole connector's hot, so be careful. This is a delicate balancing act. Alright. I can't touch that. I guess. How solder that center? I was talking a little much. Did I solder it? I don't think I did. I don't remember picking up my soldering iron. I did not. I gotta watch myself. Sometimes you gotta keep an eye on your routine. For me, I do certain things in an order, and I was looking at my soldering iron, wondering why I hadn't grabbed it yet, and I skipped something on one of my steps when I was working, and that's what kind of got me. Alright, I lost a little bit of heat on this body, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Now, rotate around. Come on, you can do it. Alright. From here, let's cool it off. Don't have to be nothing crazy. Just cool it off a bit. Now, heat up our heat shrink. Need to get you some leather gloves. I mean, I got some actually. Typically with stuff like this, it's a little bit too bulky to wear the leather gloves. I will wear my gloves on my 7/8 and my stuff. But yeah, I got some leather gloves. They come in pretty handy. I actually like them sometimes better than my mechanics wear gloves. They're pretty nice. Alrighty. That is complete. Finished that one. Now, let's get to work on this one. Let's show y'all how the female one works real quick and let y'all see how that goes. TikTok, what you got? 476, State of Maine. Waving a hand, 476. Hope you're doing well, man. Yeah, I've done a few of these over the years for sure. Not just this wire. I've done. This is. I don't know how to say it without sounding prideful. So let's just say I've done a lot of connectors over the years of all sorts of wire, and my connectors have been proven in rigorous applications. So if I make a mistake, I'm willing to own it for sure. But I do my best and try my best not to make mistakes. Just simply because, I mean, a lot of times people's like their test equipment, some of their stuff that they're running, the equipment they plan on operating with, is on the line if something's not right. Because not everybody who deals with me is super proficient and knows the ins and outs of impedance matching, of SWR, of a particular impedance on a cable, of just line to load impedance, reflection coefficient. I mean, even just I don't know. There's a bunch of different stuff that they won't know the ins and outs of. So I don't try to get. I try to make sure it's not going to be a problem, not going to cause them any issues or heartache with something that I'm doing. So that's my goal. Where's it at? So when I pulled that out, there should have been a piece in there, and I think, let me see. No, I got this as separate. Was it just missing a piece? I feel like I just pulled this thing out seamless from stem to stern. You guys just watched me pull it out. And it was missing a part. I don't know. We're going to take this one for now. I can't let this thing hold up progress. We got to get to work. I got lots of stuff that I got to get done. I just added some more 400 to my order list. I added some more, another fellow wanting some more 400 and some, 400 and some half-inch flex. Another guy's wanting some connectors, actually. That one's a pretty easy one, thank God. Not that any of them's extremely difficult for me, it's just, it's always nice to get a simple order every now and then. Because I am supposed to be an RF supply company, so I do supply parts for people. But a lot of times people see me doing it, it's like, hey, I would rather you just do it. So I get signed up for the whole job. Appreciate you guys liking the post. Appreciate you guys with the whatever the coins are. I appreciate them. I think they're coin. I think I know what they are. Thanks for them. I appreciate it. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, J-Dog. Thank you, Rico. Appreciate you. And appreciate the follow there, Levi. If you guys got any questions, y'all want to know anything about what I do, y'all feel free to ask. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all to tell you guys. That's kind of what my page is designed for, to show you guys how this stuff works. Alright, outer jacket cut. I like actually getting connectors sometimes that don't have 21 mil. I'll just do this. That's 8 mils. Same thing. And that's going to be 8 mil too, because I already measured it before. So we got all our marks. Let's go ahead and start our cutting. So now, let's show you guys the other methodology you could use. Let's say these cutters. These are fairly sharp. Let's see if they'll do what I need it to do. There we go. And now we'll pull that off. Pull that off. Again, we're just experimenting with this, seeing how it will go. Right here. If you're careful, you can do this. There's a little, I missed a couple shaves. It is pretty fast though. If you could work out like a method where you're pretty smooth, then you definitely could do it like this for sure. It would be entirely possible. Now, the last part I'm not going to do with that, just because it cuts too good. But there is definitely more than one way to skin a cat. Let's just say it that way. There's a lot of different ways to do this stuff. I typically go for the most repeatable methods, but I will try to find ways to save time while I'm working. That one's not as loose as the other one. There we go. Sometimes if you don't do that little separation that I showed you, you won't be able to pull it off no matter how hard you try, because it's just not separated. Alright. Questions. RG400 recommended to go between antenna. You can use RG400 on the antenna. Jumpers is definitely a little bit better than for like main feedline and stuff, because it is high attenuation. So it's not necessarily the best coax to use for a main antenna feedline, but it could be used. There's definitely people out there that do use it. Does it mean it's the proper choice, especially for the money you spend? No, not really. I mean, you could buy half-inch flex is $3.50 a foot. RG400 is $3 a foot. So you can spend 50 cents more a foot, get lower attenuation, get higher power handling, and then get it won't be as flexible, and then also get a higher RF current rating on your cable too. So there's a lot of benefits for picking the right coax for the right application. Try not to get too enamored with one coax. Like Rg-393, it's great for like rotor loops and stuff. Would I use it for the entire feed line? No. it's just too lossy. There's no real benefit, even though it can handle 15,000 watts across pretty much the entire HF spectrum. It's lossy. It's not a good idea. But now if it's short and it's like in a big truck, sure, it's not a big deal. The biggest thing I have a problem with is how people will seal up the irregular PL259s. They're not really designed to be a sealed connector, so you want to do the best you can to seal them up if you're going to use cable like that. Or change it out pretty regular, one or the other. Power handling is not going to be your problem then. The main problem is going to be sealing it for weather. YouTube is not talkative today. Welded a flange on a honey wagon this morning. I'll tell you that. Yeah, nope. Those gloves will get thrown away for sure. If anybody doesn't know, a honey wagon is not a honey wagon with honey in it. Center connector's done. Uh, 213 to the antenna is fine. Again, same PL259 issue. Amp funnel connectors are the problem. They're good. I love amp funnels, but they their PL259 is not designed for really outdoor use. If you look, I'll show you on these. Some of these Rg-393 cables, or not 393, but some DIN connectors. Alright, this cable is a lot heavier than the other, so it's jerking my mat around and stuff. Alright, that's all bonded. Rotate. Try not to burn myself again. All right. This mat can actually take a ton of heat, so that's the other reason you see me lay this down on the mat a lot, because I typically don't trust my mat a ton. But it's pretty trustworthy, to be honest. So I can lay the full heat of this connector on the mat when I can take some water or something like that, and it'd be that hot. So, pretty good mat. It holds up and does a good job. Alright, so from here, same thing I was doing earlier. I'm just going to do this reducer. Or this, not reducer, this heat shrink. we go. She's all done on that side. So that's the female. And I'll do the male on this side. Waving a hand from Ukraine. I hope you're doing well. I can't see the rest of your stuff because it's got a little heart icon in the way, but waving a hand from Ukraine. All right. So next is going to be me personally. If I'm going to do something really nice on a mobile, I'm going to go something like a den connector. If you look at these dens, they have an O-ring seal on it. I'm going to take a connector, just a random connector right here. This has got a, let's see if I got one. I should have one right over here. Yeah. It's got a rubber seal here. Rubber seal here. Got an O-ring here, right there. Another O-ring here inside this connector. So it's got sealed here, sealed there, and sealed there. Everywhere it mates up and everywhere it connects, here, here, and along the back side of the shield itself, has got some sort of rubber seal. So I am significantly happier with a den connector than I am with a UHF connector. But to be honest, in a mobile, if you're in a big truck, you're driving up another road, you're going up and down salty roads and all kinds of extra junk, I would get a reasonably priced coax. I'd get like some 400 RG400s, like $84 for RG400 jumper. You'll spend like $50 at the truck stop for your random junk. And then I'd change it out probably once every couple of years or so. Just look at the silver and look and see if it's turned into an oxide, and then just change it probably maybe 6 months or so later on down the line. That's probably what I would recommend to do. Rather than building overkill and building something crazy, I'd recommend just maintenance. It's like changing the oil in your car. So that would be the way I would recommend that situation. So, what do you guys got for me on YouTube? No questions on YouTube? If you guys want to know anything, you let me know. Question, what would be a good coax for an Antron 99? I needed about 100 foot. Depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like lower wattage, Antron 99, 9913, Rg-213U, double shielded. That's probably what I would stay in the range of there, needle bender. Alright, let's get this last one done. And this harness will be almost complete. I don't know if I'll show you guys the split feed today, but we're going to get on there and get to work. Look, we're trying to fall. I knew I caught it. Alright, back over here. I appreciate all the questions, you guys. You give me more things to talk about. A lot of times people stay in here and stay quiet and won't ask anything, and I don't have nothing to talk about. Let's use our measurements. I already got it real quick. 29.3. Well, let's just do 30. I'm going to give myself a little bit more. All right. We got 8 mil. Whew, gotta watch out for that. Sometimes you'll have like pokey little ends on the solder. On the shield. Be careful, they'll stab the piss out of you. Especially if they're stiff. I'll stick with an 8. Same 8 right there. Alright. let's do the cutter method. We just did that a while ago. Let's do it again. All right. Use the same tool. Pull this piece off. And then I'll use a different tool to break this booger loose. And then pull that piece off right there. We got to cut through all the way through the jacket on this next piece right here. All the way through the jacket, all the way through the shield. We're not cutting through it worked. Ta-da! Now on smaller wires this is not going to work. Like Rg-400 you can't do that. You'll just get through, you'll cut through the Teflon. Alright, let me slide this on before I forget about it. See if I've got one on here already. I do not. Just one. Now we'll cut our last piece with our knife. There we go. Success. Now the manufacturer doesn't really mention some of these fixes that I'm doing, some of these extra things that I'm adding. So again, up to you whether you choose to do them or not. But I will continue doing them on my builds. So don't feel like I'm telling you, oh, you have to build my way. You can build however you want. Don't hurt my feelings none. It ain't my customer. All right, something happened to my own line. I got killed. Alright, whatever. Mr. Corley. Yeah, I would get, Mr. Corley's a good antenna to go with. There's nothing wrong with that. Mr. Corley is in, he's still working. I don't know how busy he is right now. That sucks. But yeah, you have to check with Mr. Corley. He's on Facebook. Just type in Mr. Corley Antennas or Mr. Corley on Facebook. And that's where he'll be. Let me make a TikTok video real quick for these guys on TikTok. Sorry guys, it kicked me out of the video. We're finishing up this Rg-393 right here. We've already finished the other one, and I've got to build a split feed. You guys have a good evening, and sorry for kicking you out of the live. It wasn't my intention. It's just what TikTok did. Yeah, so my TikTok video, apparently, if I don't do like a puzzle thing every hour or something like that, then it kicks me off my live. Alright, now let's show you guys how to finish the rest of this up on YouTube and Facebook real quick. I'll hold this here. You guys feel free to comment over there on Facebook and YouTube if you got questions. We're just gonna finish up this wire right here. One in the wick in. It did pretty well, but we'll add some more heat and add some more solder. There we go, that looks better. Center conductor done. Alright, wound it all the way around. Let's do the center conductor. Not the center conductor, but the screw. Put that a little bit closer to the middle, so just in case the screw falls, I can catch it. I'm being a little bit more chicken. Alright, that's all finished. I got two options. I think I like to cool it off a little bit more than I like for it to stay hot. Just simply because it's not falling back anyway, no matter what I do. Whoops. That's what happens when you hold heat on it too long. I was too busy paying attention to where the wire was going. And that's why guys like to use heat guns, because they don't know how to use a torch. Whenever it comes to using one, they do stuff like that all the time. There you go. It's easy enough to wipe off. This is finished. I've got the long connector like this. I'm going to look and make sure that this customer wants this. This customer asked for $393 for Stinger to split feed, 24 foot. And then this 9 foot right there is just a jumper for them. Alright. That covers that. I'm gonna call them and ask them about this one, because I might have made this one the wrong connector. I don't think so though. I'm pretty sure this will be exactly what he's looking for, but I need to call him and ask him, because he might have a den female on his other connector. If he does, that'll be really weird. But if he does, then I might need to change this. But I think, I don't know. I'm not sure if I've talked to him or not. I talked to him earlier, but I'll send him a message and talk to him about it. But now I need to build some split feeds. I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'll be doing 2 7/16 den split feeds and 1 7/8 EIA split feed. I'll probably be doing, well, hang on, what's tomorrow? Wednesday? No. So I'll be doing it Thursday. So I'll be doing the split feeds Thursday. I'll be doing probably some more 7/8 Thursday. I don't know. Depends on what I can get done. And then I might just try to knock out some other wires on next Monday. So I'll be back Thursday. See you guys later. Y'all guys have a wonderful evening. And sorry to the guys on TikTok. They didn't get to see all the whole video. Yes, this is 50 ohm coax. This is Rg-393 is what this stuff is right here. So I've got Rg-393, Rg-400 right over here. Every bit of the coax that I got in my shop, that's 50 ohm coax right there. That's Rg-400 right there. This is Teflon coax. It's usually used in aeronautics and aerospace. I'll show you some other coax that I've got over here. Since you're asking questions, might as well put you over here and let you see. There is some, let me see this upside down. Hang on. Put you guys the right way. Turn this gimbal on. Stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. Alright, whatever. Loosen this booger off. Unplug that. Pull this out. Come on, let me out of here. Alright. Gimbal. Sorry, we're trying to get the gimbal going. So, this is some 7/8 hardline right here. That's an EIA flange for some more 7/8 hardline right there. That's what that one is. Then here is some 1/2" flex here, some more 1/2" flex here, some more 1/2" flex here, here. Whoops, that's Rg-400 over there. Sorry, 1/2" flex, 1/2" flex, 1/2" flex, 1/2" flex, and then there's some more 7/8 hardline right there. But yeah, that's what we work on. So it is definitely all 50 ohm coax. Catch you guys later. Y'all have a good evening. See y'all. Appreciate you on YouTube. Appreciate you on Facebook and Twitch.